Speaking Part 2 and 3. Topic: Work and Study. Part 2. Favorite subject. Describe your favorite subject. You should say what it is concerned with, when you learned it, and explain why you like this subject. Analyze the topic. Question 1. Basic subjects: language, mathematics, literature, physics, chemistry, history, geography, etc. Majors: management, psychology, philosophy, archaeology, economics, computer studies, etc. Fine arts: music, PE, speciality class, etc. Question 2. You state the connection between that subject and other fields, for example, history or culture, geography with your favorite travel, literature, philosophy, psychology with your favorite book, economics, finance, management, accounting with the dream of becoming an expert in the financial field. Reference answer. Opening sentence. Well, one of my favorite subjects is literature, which is the foundation and basis for almost every other subject. Related genres and fields. Basically, literature covers a wide range of fields, including history, poetry, philosophy, novels, short stories, drama, and language. Time. Speaking of when I learned the subject, I must say that I have been studying literature since primary school, and strictly speaking, the time I spend studying literature is not confined to any certain period but every phase of my life. Reasons. I am partial towards literature for a number of reasons. Reason 1. As mentioned above, literature is an important aspect of a variety of educational programs. Objective information. So, how could one communicate with others in a highly respected manner without being literate? Subjective information. Moreover, literature can help us be more educated and informed and, at the same time, can help pave the way for opportunities in study and work. Reason 2. Besides, I feel that literature can motivate a person to think critically, creatively, innovatively, to independently, logically, systematically. Objective information. Through studying literature, one may develop a strong sense of logic, morality, etiquette, principle, and so on. Subjective information. And that's really crucial for a person to function appropriately and effectively in society. Reason 3. More importantly, I always believe that literature contains the historical background of the time in which it was written. Objective information. Simply because literature is the record of the past, it is necessary for inheriting and passing on knowledge to the next generation. Subjective information. For me, I am quite interested in all aspects of the humanities, and literature helps me understand them more insightfully and thoroughly. Conclude. In summary, considering the above-mentioned reasons, I'm strongly in favor of literature. Career. Ideal career. Describe your ideal job. You should say what the job is, where you will work at, what you will need to do this job, and explain why you want to do this job. Analyze the topic. For the career topic, you can think of the following occupations: tourism-related professions, tour guide, adventurer, environmental profession, environmentalist. Other occupations: hotel assessor, island caretaker, fashion designer. When talking about your ideal career, you can mention the following ideas: it is a career that you love, is useful to society and brings in a high income. Reference answer. Opening sentence. Well, the ideal job that I am dying to do is being a caretaker, to be more specific, an island caretaker, which was once called the best job in the world. Location. Speaking of the location, I guess it depends. Wherever there is an island with a stunning view and sensational shoreline, I'm ready to devote myself to this job. Job. When it comes to the job requirements criteria, basically, it calls for two main skills. First, I have to speak fluent English or a local language since I have to blend in smoothly with the local life. Besides, it will be necessary for me to be a skillful swimmer, which is fundamental if I want to survive near the ocean. More than that, creativity, passion, persistence, and courage are also highly desirable to really do my job well. Reasons. Being an island caretaker is my ideal job for the following reasons. Reason 1. Firstly, I am a big fan of the ocean and all kinds of water sports, like surfing, swimming, scuba diving, snorkeling, and being an island caretaker is all about these things, and this job will really meet my recreational needs. Reason 2. Besides, I also think that the job is pretty easy. Writing a weekly blog will be the main thing I need to do. Beyond that, I may spoil myself as much as I like. Reason 3. Most importantly, the pay is incredibly attractive. If I stay and work for 6 months, I will receive $110,000. Wow, that would be fantastic. Conclude. Though I am fully aware that this job is impossible for me, I am still longing for this kind of job, which is the perfect combination of having fun and making money. In short, I always dream of becoming an island caretaker. Careers that make life better. Describe a job that can make our world a better place. You should say what it is, what the job involves, where the work is done, and explain why the job can make our world a better place. You can choose one of the following careers: doctor, artist, painter, police, entrepreneur, businessman, teacher, designer, technician, firefighter, architect, politician. You can combine this topic with a topic about your ideal job or favorite career. Sample. Well, the job I want to tell you about is being a doctor, which is one of the most essential and indispensable occupations in human life. Regarding doctor's job, I reckon it involves saving people's and animals' lives, curing diseases, and easing pains. Normally, they work at medical facilities, such as hospitals, nursing homes, clinics, and treatment centers. I believe that this job is invaluable for the following reasons. Firstly, doctors play an important role in everybody's life. Without doctors, how could we be treated promptly and competently when we get sick? Being robust and healthy is quite fundamental to everyone's well-being, not to mention those who are facing the threats of death. Besides, doctors are those who have the right to provide us with medical advice. By this, I mean doctors are authoritative in making recommendations and giving advice on different aspects of life, such as nutritional advice, healthcare tips, diet therapy, or just common sense of first aid. Undoubtedly, we live a more well-rounded and well-balanced life under doctors' instructions. More importantly, I always believe that general practitioners are increasingly necessary in today's life. Obviously, people today tend to live an unhealthy lifestyle and are more likely to live under all sorts of pressure or anxiety and suffer from various diseases. So, general practitioners are more in demand than ever before to help and support those who are unable to be hospitalized. All in all, doctors are really in great demand and make a great contribution to a better world. Small retail business. Describe a small business you want to do in the future. You should say what the business will be, how many people it may need, where the business may be located, and explain why you want to do this. Some types of small businesses: barber shop, repair shop, bakery, cake shop, cafe and refreshment shop, florists, flower shop, nail salon, beauty parlor, salon, hairdressers, hair salon, a milk tea shop, online store, butchers, meat shop, bookstore, boutique, fashion store, profitable, personal interest, flexible working hours, self-employed, low threshold investment, fast. Cost recovery, highly demanded, promising market analysis, analyzes the market, personal strengths, profit model, risk management, target consumers, sample. Well, the small business I want to do in the future is to open a cafe specializing in espresso and cakes, which has been my lifelong dream. Regarding the location, basically, I guess it may be more appropriate to be located in a commercial complex or shopping mall simply because our target consumers may be office workers, students, and foreigners, who are more likely to be hanging around in such places. Speaking of the number of employees, I can be the barista myself, but then I will need one or two to give me a hand with serving or cleaning if necessary. Generally, there are a couple of reasons why I am longing so eagerly to own a cafe. Firstly, I consider that a cafe business calls for less investment and is less laborious. Compared with other small businesses, like a restaurant, it is less messy and troublesome. All I need to do is make a cup of drink for my guests. Since I have a strong preference for coffee, especially espresso, I feel that I am doing something artistic and creative while I am making a cup of coffee. Besides, I also feel that the coffee shop sector will keep booming. Given that the westernized lifestyle is getting popular these days, espresso has become enthusiastically welcome. The success of Starbucks is a good illustration. So, based on my market analysis, I believe that this business will be profitable with a short cost recovery term. More importantly, this has been my lifelong dream. You know, meeting with friends and catering to like-minded customers can be great things to do. I have always been dreaming that I will have my own little heaven, where I can decorate and design in my favorite way. In short, those are the reasons why I want to open a cafe. Part 3. Questions that require making a choice. How to answer. Answer the questions in the following order: state your opinion, give reasons, give examples, make assumptions, mention the opposite side of the issue, and conclude. Give your opinion. Personally, I think. State the reason, simply because. Give examples. For example. State the assumption. Without. Mention the opposite. On the other hand. Conclude. In short, all in summary, to conclude, to sum up in a word. Suggested questions and answers. Which one is more important, salary or job satisfaction? Give your opinion. Personally, I find job satisfaction more important. State reasons and assumptions, simply because if people don't like what they do, it will be a torture for them, and I don't believe that they can be persistent and productive under such a situation. So, how can they become excellent and improve themselves? To meet the opposition? Yet, I do admit that salary is almost everyone's concern when they get a job because people need to meet their expenses on a daily basis. Conclude. In short, if I have to choose only one out of the two aspects, I'd rather select job satisfaction. Question of popularity. Typical questions. What are the most popular majors in your country? What are the most popular jobs for young people in your country? How to answer. Answer the question in 2 steps, divide and synthesize. Divide the subject performing the action related to the object, event, mentioned in the question into 2 groups. Present the type or objects, events, that each group likes and the type or objects, events, that both groups like. Well, it depends. For I consider think is quite popular for them, such as simply because. Yet, for I guess they might fancy have a fancy for, including that's because. For both. Suggested questions and answers. What are the most popular jobs for young people in your country? Well, it depends. For boys, I feel that they are more likely to be concerned about areas where they believe they will be successful sooner or later, such as banking, IT, engineering, and construction. Yet, for girls, I guess they tend to focus on job satisfaction. Quite a number of girls dream of working in areas that are related to fashion or modern lifestyles, including fashion design, textiles, hospitality sector, and even show business. For both, I think that being in business is pretty attractive since young people nowadays long for financial freedom so that they can choose their favorite lifestyle and do whatever they want. Questions about change. Typical questions. How have people's ways of finding a job changed? How have people's ways of studying changed? How to answer. State the differences in things, events, ways of performing actions, between the past and the present. Generally speaking, people used to, in a traditional and conventional way, such as. But now, an increasing number of people, especially young people, tend to, in a more diversified way, including, simply because our way of life has been deeply transformed by the internet and technology. Suggested questions and answers. How have people's ways of finding a job changed? Well, people used to find a job in some traditional and conventional ways, like sending resumes to companies, being recommended by some acquaintances, or looking for job vacancies in newspapers or on notice boards. But now, job hunters are more likely to turn to the internet for help, such as posting their CV on some recruitment websites or attending a job interview online. More than that, it now is a trend to join job hunting fairs, which can greatly gain the publicity from potential businesses nationwide. However, the employers might be extremely critical and strict, so only 1 in 100 applicants could be chosen. How have people's ways of studying changed? Well, in the past, people used to study in traditional ways, such as attending a class and listening to teachers' lectures or studying through reading books. But now, an increasing number of learners are studying on the internet or through distance education, and there is also a tendency for today's students to study in different countries. Question requiring opinion. Typical questions. What kinds of subjects are useful? Is equipment necessary for teaching? What kinds of people should earn a high salary, and why do they deserve a high salary? What kinds of bosses are desirable for employees? How may the government help people to run a small business? How to answer. 1. Answer the questions in order, general introduction and listing. In terms of, I think that, when it comes to, I just think that, I feel fine that, regarding. My point is that, personally, I believe that. After stating your point in the introductory sentence, you must provide at least 2 pieces of information to support that point. You can use the words firstly, besides, or the phrases more importantly, most importantly to open sentences when presenting this information. Suggested questions and answers. What factors will people consider when seeking a job? Personally, I believe that there is a variety of factors people will consider when hunting for a job. Firstly, salary is the essential one that most people will consider since they believe that their value can be judged by what they are paid. Besides, job satisfaction is also vital simply because people need to make sure that they will do their work with passion and energy. More importantly, there are other factors, such as promotion opportunity, advancement opportunities, training courses, training sessions, annual leave, paid annual leave, welfare structure. Welfare structure, working environment, colleagues, colleague, working hours, salary, salary, working location, work location. How to answer. 2. Answer the questions in the following order. State your opinion, give reasons, give examples, make assumptions, mention the opposite side of the issue, and conclude. Give your opinion. Personally, I think. State the reason, simply because. Give examples. For example. State the assumption. Without. To access the opposite side. On the other hand. Conclude, in short, all in summary, to conclude, to sum up in a word. Suggested questions and answers. Is the working location important when people are seeking a job? Dida went to the police station. Yes, definitely yes, for most people, I think the working location is very significant. State the reason, mainly because it is directly related to the time you will spend commuting. Give examples and assumptions. For example, if a person has to spend 2 hours commuting, I guess he is more likely to be frustrated and exhausted with the daily work. Personally, I'd rather put that amount of time into my work. Conclude. In a word, the working location is important. Do you think that more and more people will work at home? Yes, I do believe that an increasing number of people will be freelancers, working at home. Give reasons and examples, since the internet has greatly changed the way people work today, and some jobs don't call for working in a fixed office, such as being a designer, writer, distance education instructor, and even an accountant. Provided that they can hand in their work by the agreed and consensual deadline, the working location isn't important anymore. Besides, efficiency is most people's first consideration, and working at home is very time-saving and labor-saving. They can focus more on their work instead of facing congestion on the road. Conclude. In short, I believe working at home is likely to become more popular. Summary. Giving reasons, giving examples, making assumptions, and mentioning the opposite side of the issue are first steps that help you clarify your point of view. When answering questions that require you to present your point of view, you do not necessarily have to follow the order as mentioned above, but can combine the steps flexibly, but must ensure logic. In some cases, this method will be more effective. Your answer will be more convincing, making a stronger impression on the examiner.